Hello, welcome to the program. Today, I'm Amarachi Ubani. Here's what's coming up within the half hour. Out with the old, in with the new, Andy Burnham takes over as Britain's 7th Prime Minister in a decade. The new Prime Minister promises a new plan for Britain coming later this year. Plus, Spain are champions in Europe and champions of the world as they lift the trophy at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States. Let's begin the world today. And thanks for joining us on the program, everyone. Andy Burnham has become Britain's new Prime Minister, the 7th in a decade. He's begun his first day with a promise for a 10-year plan for the country. He made other promises to end rough sleeping and build more council homes, to redistribute power out of Westminster and to extend the Prime Minister's office into Manchester. US President Donald Trump did speak about Burnham on his post on social media, saying the people of Aberdeen in Scotland are dancing in the streets because the new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, has stated that he will be opening up all the way the invaluable North Sea oil. It's one of the greatest sources of quality oil on earth, says Trump. It has hundreds of years of capacity left, with much not even found yet, and will make the United Kingdom from a poverty-stricken disaster to one of the richest countries anywhere in the world. Other global leaders did extend their congratulations to Andy Burnham. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says she looks forward to working with Burnham to strengthen the EU-UK partnership for the prosperity of people on both sides of the Channel. French President Emmanuel Macron says he hopes to deepen ties between both countries in service of their peoples, while Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky wishes Burnham every success in addressing the challenges of today. Now, Burnham wasted no time addressing Britons from his new address, number 10 Downing Street, admitting we have not been good enough. He became Labour Party leader unopposed last week without a vote in his own party, becoming Prime Minister without needing to call for a general election, leading some in the media to question his mandate to govern. The next election under UK rules is scheduled for 2029, although sitting Prime Ministers can call one sooner if desired.
I have just come from Buckingham Palace, where I have accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government. In doing so, I am acutely conscious that I am the 6th person in the last 10 years to walk up this street, the 7th Prime Minister since 2016, making this a moment for reflection and new resolution. It requires my generation of politicians to raise our game and rise to the new challenge. Britain needs to show the world that we can regain our stability once again. And that is our challenge, to make politics work, to make it work better. I know people at home are fed up with politics. I hear you, and I want to be honest with you. We have not been good enough, and we need to be better. We will be.
Burnham also promised a new plan for Britain coming later this year. Earlier, he was seen hugging his mum, Eileen, as he arrived down in the street to deliver his speech. He told the media ahead of entry number 10 that his dad, Roy, does not know he's becoming Prime Minister as a result of his Alzheimer's.
we will make this moment a circuit breaker for Britain, bringing forward the biggest changes in the last 40 years. A new political model and a new economic model. In the 1980s, Britain took some wrong turns. Political power was centralised, economic power privatised, large parts of the country deindustrialised, and they still haven't recovered. Many feel as though they're still in decline, and they don't have the ability to turn things around. And that's why we will change politics, to make it more collaborative, more about problem solving than point scoring. And we will take power out of here and carry it into every postcode in the land so that they can do more. And in doing more, build a new economy where we put life's essentials back under stronger public control to make them affordable to you again. Reindustrialising Britain, using public procurement to back British industry. Later this year, I will bring forward a new plan for Britain, a 10-year plan, laying out a path from where we are now to where I believe we all want Britain to be, wherever we're coming from, whatever party we support. But I can do something to give people some breathing space now, some help with the cost of living. And I will set out some of those measures starting tomorrow, including how we pay for them.
And as for the outgone Prime Minister Keir Starmer, in his last address to the United Kingdom as Prime Minister, he tried to claim his work is done. Starmer announced he was stepping down last month after warnings that he could face a challenge from former Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham following a long string of scandals and rows. They include domestic U-turns, his former US ambassador's links to the late pedophile billionaire Jeffrey Epstein, claims of two-tier policing and migration protests. Starmer officially handed in his resignation to the King at Buckingham Palace after his speech before Burnham was invited by the monarch to govern.
My work is done. In 6.5 years, I took our party from a historic defeat in 2019, changed it so it was fit to face the country, and won a landslide general election victory in 2024. Since then, it has been the privilege of my life to serve you and this great country as Prime Minister. And I am confident that Britain is now stronger and fairer than it was 2 years ago.
Let's begin our London Bureau Chief, Juliana Olayinka. Juliana, great to see you. And Starmer is back in Southwark, London. He says his work is done, but he leaves behind a trail of events that punch holes in all that he's done. Is he a Prime Minister that will be missed by Britain?
Good afternoon, Amarachi. I think Sir Keir Starmer's constituency is in the north of the capital, so he's likely to have gone back to Holborn and St Pancras, where he's been representing his constituency there for years. Look, I think, going to the question, is he going to be missed? It depends on who you ask. I think it's likely that history is going to be kinder to Keir Starmer than those who like to read their news on social media. I think we've got to be fair to him. He held political office for 2 years, not long enough, but he was the first Labour leader to take control of government, of a Conservative government, in 14 years, which is huge, right? I also think he did exceptionally well on the international scene. He arrived at a time where there was lots of tension geopolitically. There always is, but with US President Donald Trump in power, he does tend to court enemies quite quickly. And I think Keir Starmer, in his travels across the globe, he was that steady pair of hands. He was the ally to all, even though him and Donald Trump did have a couple of spats, he was still, very close with him. And in fact, Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the opposition, when she was saying goodbye to Starmer last week in the House of Commons, she said, look, I admired the fact that when Zelensky was slapped about in the Oval Office, we'll all remember that, which was basically a public humiliation. It was Sir Keir Starmer who invited him to number 10 Downing Street. So certainly across the world, Keir Starmer was able to finally, after years of political instability, show the world that Britain is a stand-up, sensible nation. But unfortunately for him, that sort of love and sentiment just didn't trickle down within these aisles. I think most people found him to be quite cold. A lot of people didn't think he listened on many of the the issues that the indigenous had, mostly when it comes to immigration, and that's why he's no longer in power anymore.
Yes. Juliana, we've heard the new Prime Minister talk about his plan, a 10-year plan, he says. That's pretty ambitious for a Prime Minister right now, given the trajectory of, who has been a number 10 in the last 10 years. Britain's been churning out Prime Ministers since 2016. Where does he really have his sights on? I mean, what projections has he had for governance?
Well, it's a good question. A 10-year plan, as you said, it's very ambitious. Some would even say, Amarachi, that it's quite delusional given Britain's track record. But alas, let's see what he has to say tomorrow. That's what he said, didn't he? As we were listening at the top of the program, that he is going to give us a 10-year plan, which kind of sounds a bit like a manifesto. We did have some policy hints during his speech. He said that the first thing he wants to do is tackle homelessness. And anybody that has been following Burnham, particularly during his time, almost 10 years as mayor of Greater Manchester, ending homelessness was a huge topic of interest for him, particularly because he is a very soft, left-leaning politician. So he came out of the bat and said that. I think that's going to cost about £500 million. Lots of political pundits are already questioning, where is he going to get that money from? Also, when he gave his televised speech this afternoon, he mentioned youth unemployment, which I think is obviously essential. That's a big one. Here in the UK, in fact, across the West, we've seen AI take over so many jobs, particularly in retail. A lot of people would go to Tesco, Sainsbury's, or Zara, or any of these high street shops. You'd go to the till and you'd have a person, typically a student, serving you. A lot of that's gone now, Amarachi, as you'll know. A lot of the time, we're scanning digitally now. And so youth unemployment is important. What are we going to do with the millions of youths who come out of university and college and don't have jobs? Andy Burnham says he's got a plan for that. He also mentioned social housing, which is kind of in line with ending homelessness. Housing is always a big issue. Are there ever enough homes in Britain? Some would say no. He said he wants to build more council properties. And I think that's really important. And this is where Keir Starmer went wrong. Keir Starmer campaigned on the fact that he was going to tackle the cost of living, but we didn't see anything tangible fast enough. Andy Burnham realizes now that speed is of the essence. So he is going to have to move very, very quickly because, the knives are already going to be out for him. So this 10-year plan that he says he has, let's see what the details are. But he's given us a hint by mentioning housing, cost of living and youth, which seems to have ticked every box.
Well, he's got hopefully a long road ahead of him. And hopefully the support of all of Britain to do what he said he will do. Juliana, appreciate your joining us on the program today. We're off on a short break on The World Today, still ahead. Our 80-year-old Mick Howe enjoys his latest invention sitting down and spinning around town, I guess. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Spain are crowned world champions after edging Argentina 1-0 in the 2026 FIFA World Cup final as the tournament drew to a close on Sunday. The defeat caps a disappointing outing, however, for Argentina, who failed to register a single shot on target or even a shot at all throughout the match, becoming the first team since records began in 1966 to go the first 90 minutes of a World Cup final without attempting a shot.
The New York, New Jersey Stadium delivers a memorable finale as capacity crowd packs the stands, creating breathtaking atmosphere for football's biggest night and historic World Cup showdown. Fans held their breath as chants echoed around the stadium. Then substitute Ferran Torres breaks the deadlock with a stunning strike in the 106th minute. Following the historic victory, thousands of Spain supporters flooded streets across the world to celebrate. Jubilation also sweeps through Tama, Ghana, as locals gather with a close family friend of Spain, star Nico Williams, to watch Spain lift the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Keep telling people that, Nico especially has a lot to offer. And you could see from the World Cup and whatever he's doing. So there's a lot of delight to really feel, to really see somebody that you know on the biggest stage in football. So I'm really, really delighted, and I have given my support to Spain since then because of the family and how we relate.
Meanwhile, the mood was different in Buenos Aires as fans clash with police, and in Madrid, where rival fans fight a post-match violence marks the World Cup final. Where rivals fight as post-match violence mars the World Cup final. As celebrations continue and emotions run high, the 2026 FIFA World Cup ends with triumph, heartbreak, and lasting memories that will be remembered for generations.
Let's bring in our head news and current affairs of Adamimogo FM, Ayo Adikeye. Ayo also moonlights as a sports journalist. He joins me now. Ayo, it was a tough match yesterday. I know you watched it. I watched it. We won't say which teams we support so that we don't, cause a war here. But both sides held each other until almost the end. What did you make of the style of play and the strategy they deployed? I really can't hear you. We must. You need to unmute your microphone. Still can't hear Ayo. Ayo, we hope you fix this technical issue so that we can have this conversation, especially on the match that held yesterday. I guess the Argentinian fans are really upset, and they have sent something to make sure this doesn't go on air. We'll try to reconnect with Ayo. He's trying to fix his audio. But just look at them. The Spanish fans all rejoicing and excited about their win on Sunday. It was a really tough match, wasn't it? It really was. Both sides played 90 minutes without any goals, played extra time, and it was in the extra time that Spain scored that fantastic goal that finally earned it its place as second beg your pardon, for the second time at the World Cup, lifting the trophy for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We'll return to Ayo later. I guess we'll move forward then. Let's take a look at the 80-year-old Mikhail Shurov, who's been having the time of his life on his new ride. It's a couch, as you see him there taking a lovely evening stroll. Shurov is an inventor who has a variety of homemade creations, including a musical clock, a custom-built sports car, which we'll see in a minute, a confetti fountain, and a dancing thumbelina hidden inside a giant flower. His latest inventions is a self-propelled sofa, which Shurov drives through the streets while offering rides to locals. The peculiar device is not just a mode of transportation, but it's also quite entertaining. It also has a television installed where you can plug in a USB flash drive and watch videos. For Shurov, dreaming up an invention is the easy part. The real work begins when metal, motors, and electronics have to be brought together. He's a physicist by training and previously worked as an engineer maintaining scientific equipment at a Rice Research Institute before turning to farming. He later left agriculture and devoted more of his time to building mechanical creations. Shurov first gained national attention in 2009 for building a 14-meter house modeled in the Kremlin's Spasskaya Tower. The project took around 8 years to complete, and it featured a working clock, rotating upper section, and remote-controlled mechanisms. Right, we can get back to that conversation now. Ayo was asking about the strategy both teams deployed, and I think I was more impressed by the humility and the resilience, I guess, of the Spaniards. What did you think?
Well, for a Spanish team that has seen Argentina, rise above challenges, we've seen them not in a game, not in two games, coming from 2 goals down, coming to win. So when you see a majesty like that, you bow. For you to play against a team that is that resilient, you have to give them the honor. But then again, you see that the Argentines, they're a fine wine, not as young as the Spanish side. They play compact. They know they can't run too much, but they find a way to work around it. But then again, the champion is Spain. So they unraveled it. They did it. So give it to them.
Yeah, and there was a lot of humility on the part of the Spaniards. I noticed that even in the victory, there was still, the celebrations were still a bit subdued, the way they went about it. And I guess, the import of it all came on them, that they played against Lionel Messi and they won.
For example, Lamine Yamal, all his life, adored Messi. Ferran Torres, all his life, adored Messi. Everybody looks up to Messi. Now been the country to play him and send him off the World Cup. That's humbling. You have to really be humble. At certain points in the game, you have to go meet Messi and give him a very tight hug. Like, hey, thank you for this opportunity. Yes, I know we won against you today, but then it's a privilege to be with you on the pitch, to share the same pitch, and having to beat you in the game that we looked up to you. So it's really humbling.
Yeah, we can see videos of the fans celebrating there. Ayo, this is set to be Messi's last World Cup. You could see the tears in his eyes yesterday. We don't have the right to show that, but if you'd watched the World Cup, and I know you did, you were up all night, you could see the tears in his eyes. It was almost unbelievable for him. He looked like he had let the team down. What impact do you think him not winning this World Cup would have, on his legacy and perhaps his retirement plans?
I think Messi's legacy is intact, no stain. Before 2021, Messi was that unfulfilled prodigy of Maradona. He never won anything for the countryside. And this was the guy everybody thought was going to succeed Maradona. But after 2021, everything changed for him. From winning the first international title to winning the World Cup in 2022. What else can you ask of him? He's done all. And everybody knows that when it comes to national football, Messi gives his best, leaves his blood and sweat on the pitch. So I think his tears are rather tears of reflection, looking back before 2021. The same guy people called a failure, the same guy people called a disappointment, being the one whose name they now chant. Because after the game, The stadium was chanting Messi, Messi, Messi.
Yeah.
So with that, I don't think that his legacy has anything to be afraid of, if I can put it that way. He has a solid legacy. He's done a great job for Argentina, and I think his statue will be everywhere.
Yeah, Messi is a legend. We have to say that. Ayo, thank you for joining us in this conversation. And thank you once again, our viewers, for watching. Congratulations again to Spain for winning the 2026 World Cup. And that's the world today. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Bani.